Hello and welcome to the video. Today I want to make a tournament recap from Meadowlands Melee 10. This is a Meadowlands format tournament and I got first place in it. Also, I'm actually the first player who was ever able to top with Dark World in this format. So I want to showcase you my deck list and my replays and my thoughts behind it. Yeah, my deck is basically inspired from my first place yugioh format deck. And this deck list is inspired from Krona, who went to Wise Spurl and Fire Water format with Dark World and played the exact same deck with one small change, and the change was compulse over the second skill drain in the main deck. But then mentioned during the tournament report, I'd made a deck building mistake and my Mirror Force should be the second skill drain. But then I looked over the deck list and decided, yeah, 2 skill drain in the main might be correct, but I want to play Mirror Force. I decided to play his deck and then I decided to play Mirror Force over Compulse because the deck has a really low trap count and with traps I mean actually really traps, like Reckless is not a defensive trap at all and Eradicator doesn't protect you from battle. So we wanna play only the traps that actually protect us, and these traps have to be as impactful as possible. So this deck can brick sometimes and the opponent might be able to attack us directly, and we don't want to lose the game pretty early to some direct attacks. Also, if the opponent might be able to break one grapher, then the opponent might be able also to follow it up with an OTK in the early game, and we want to prevent that. We don't want to lose to random OTKs because the opponent is able to out one grapher, therefore the Mirror Force. Also, in Meadowlands format specifically, the opponent might be on Big Eye and Mermail, and Big Eye can steal the grapher. Then if the opponent attacks our grapher, we get our own grapher back into our own graveyard and also remove the Big Eye from the opponent. So I get the idea to play Mirror Force in a deck like Dark World from Ghost Rider, who also topped with Mirror Force and Dragon Turbo. And Mirror Force is actually pretty nuts in such glass cannon decks because first of all, these opponents are not expecting any kinds of defensive traps, not trying to play around Torrential or Mirror Force. So if we draw a bunch of cards but not the combo pieces that we exactly need, we can just chill behind Mirror Force, let the opponent attack, walk into Mirror Force, then remove all of the monsters of Mirror Force, and then we can start our own counter offense. But Meadowlands format has a different ban list than yugioh format, therefore much more powerful cards are allowed. Here we have card destruction, and card destruction is also completely superior over Into the Void. So Into the Void is okay in this deck, but it never feel absolutely overwhelming, so I decided to remove the card and replace it with some other cards. The replacements for Into the Void are basically 2 Tron's Archfiend, which is also a discard outlet and allows me to recycle my banished grapher post side, because the opponent might be on banishing floodgates like Macrocosmos, or maybe a Spellbook of Fate or DD Crow. And then 1 Heavy Storm, because Heavy Storm is such a broken card. Here I played 10 traps and I decided to play the exact same trap count, so also 10 traps, triple Reckless, double Skill Drain. And then because Torrential Tribute is at 2 and this card is very powerful, so double Torrential and no Mirror Force in the main, but I decided to side the Mirror Force. I expected lots of Mermail players, therefore deck dev over Eradicator in the main deck, but only 1 Virus because this is very matchup dependent and I don't want to overcommit on Virus cards into matchups where those cards might not be that impactful. Then Solemn Warning, and because Dark Smoke is not that great against Mermail in this specific format, 1 Solemn Judgment, because we need to protect our back row against Heavy Storm from the opponent. And Solemn Judgment is not only Heavy Storm negate, but overall super strong generic trap card, deals with everything that might prevent us from going into our own offense. Yeah, and then for the side, second deck there for Mermail and these Rivalry also for Mermail. Yeah, because my main deck is already pretty much tagged to beat the deck, I decided to not overcommit into anti-Mermail cards. So the idea behind it is Mermail is pretty aggressive and might try to OTK us early in the game. Therefore we need to prevent it at all costs. Rivalry on its own super strong Floodgate, but if the opponent has a bunch of Sea Serpents already on the field, then this card is not that impactful. So we need some other real traps that also defend our life points. And Mirror Force is really nice to defend our own life points against a huge amount of incoming attacks from the opponent. The Mermail deck is a deck that is able to put a huge amount of bodies on the board that can attack us really fast. And then if I don't play against Mermail in this format, I expected to see lots of decks that have a huge anti-Mermail side deck with lots of floodgates like Macrocosmos, Dimensional Fissure and Soul Drain. Therefore 3 MST and double Raikou to hit those floodgates. Also this card is kinda nice against Evil Swarm Ophion and maybe some other floodgates like Banisher of the Radiance. And then for Spellbox to Eradicator, I think this card is completely superior over Mindcrush, wins the game on the spot. For some control decks, third skill drain. And then Ghost Match against Six Samurai, because both Kisan and Grafa are topped in the recent Meadowlands tournament with Six Samurai, and I'm absolutely worried about the deck because they have such a great Darkwood matchup with Naturia Beast and Shien being able to shut down all my spell discard outlets. And Ghost Match kind of deals with that. They go Shien and Naturia Beast, I can go Ghost Match. If Shien decides to negate it, I can chain the skill drain, and then they lose at least one of the problematic cards. And then if I'm able to bait the Shien out with the Ghost Match, I might be able to remove the rest of the field with something like Torrential or Mirror Force. Fortunately, never played against Six Samurai in this tournament, and I kinda don't want to play against Six Samurai with Dark World, so avoided my worst matchup. So for the extra deck, lots of cards not legal in this format. It would be legal in Vegas format, but I still have some rank 3s in case I go Normal Summon Bro. My opponent hits the Grafa with DD Crow, and then the next turn I have a second Bro that I can go into any of those. For example, if I'm under skill drain and my opponent doesn't have anything which would be able to attack over the Bro under gate, that I can go with the second Bro into Acid Golem, and skill drain plus Acid Golem is pretty strong. Also Sandmains to out some Floodgates, and yeah, Levia for recovery. The other cards are just toolbox options. And then for the rank 8s, Heliopolis, Neo Galaxy Ice Photon Dragon. The cards that came actually up for Heliopolis once, Cowboy once, and Lavalva Chain once. But I think Dweller might come up against Mermail, this might come up against Sandmains from the opponent, this one might come up against maybe Heretic or the Mirror Match, this one might come up because it's a Fiend and also boosted by the gates, this is also a Fiend. And then this might come up against Evil Swarm. I think the other cards are just flag spots, and you could put in whatever you want here. Doesn't matter that much because extra deck is not that important. Now let's look over the replays.